Okay.
We're good.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to EP7. This is Fear, your host, and today I'm here with...
Matthew Vasquez.
As many of you guys know, Matthew Vasquez has been very recognized on our channel. How many times have you been part of it?
Probably like 3 or 4 episodes.
3 or 4 episodes. I call that the old Matt. Since the last time you have learned a lot about cameras, your knowledge has been superior. And as many of you guys can tell, the camera is a little different. I couldn't do that on myself for sure. And honestly, not only that, you see what you're wearing? Like, explain to us, what is this other than obviously a microphone?
Obviously, they're like little microphones on your neck, but they're called lavaliers. These ones are Bluetooth ones, so it sounds pretty crisp, I'd say. I mean, I'm sure there are better ones out there, but especially the ones with cords. But you know, that's just tech talk. So
it's too much technology for me, to be fair with you. And obviously, you don't have to disclose it, but how expensive are they? I feel like they're not that cheap.
So these ones probably run for about like $150, but I know like the good ones you see on movie sets, because a lot of times not only they have backup audio, so they'll use like a boom mics, and then on top of that they'll also have a lavalier on you. So those ones could range from anywhere to like $1,000 or something. You know what I mean? Like depending on how many people are in a scene and you need like audio in it, it could be like up to 10 grand.
They're not very visible neither. So where do they hide them?
So they're usually in their back pocket, and then you also have to realize that people are in scenes when they walk around and when they do certain acts, they're choreographed. So, you know, you're purposely showing what you're allowed to show. You know, you're intentionally showing things to the screen, so you're not gonna see a wire pop out or like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. You're not going to catch them with the mic all muffled.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into more details about that, I want to make it clear. I think the description already shows, but we are here to talk about not only photography, films, and just in general, the life of a cameraman. Or more than that. How would you define it, not cameraman? That sounds kind of bad. Like a person behind the lens?
There are moments when I am a cameraman, but primarily I'd say I'm a videographer. So it covers a wide range. Advertisement, short films, feature films, and the list can go on, really, depending on what you want to do. Sports videography, weddings, you know, anything. Like, as long as I have the equipment and hopefully the knowledge on it, then I can probably do it.
And now, most people would say in their careers, the price of the equipment does not really reflect on your work. But I must say, with the camera stuff, I feel like it does eventually at some point.
So a lot of people, let me preface by saying, if you want to start, shoot on your phone. If you say you want like a movie look to your videos and that's what's been stopping you, there are lenses you can buy for your phone. Just do that. It's way cheaper than what I did. Honestly, I probably should have started with a phone and just bought like little lenses you can put onto your camera, onto your phone camera, because your phone is so strong, so like powerful. The things you can make with it is incredible. I mean, there's been full films made with phones, so take advantage of what you have, and then if you get pretty good at it or you want to expand your knowledge, invest in a camera.
So in that case, let's say your first camera, how much should you spend on a camera? And not only how much you should spend, but what type of camera would you get as a first camera? So
first off, you know, some people come to me for photo or video, so you have to like kind of figure out what do you want to do first. Like, do you want to go into photography or do you want to go into videography? Do you want to do both? Or are you just doing it because you want to have fun? Personally, I started with a point and shoot camera, which is just no lens. It's just the lens actually just pops out, and then once it's done, it goes back in for the safety of, you know, the glass in it. So I think those are fun. I mean, just buying a little camera off of OfferUp or eBay is really nice. You can get really cool digital cameras that look like film. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I know that's kind of like a wave right now with videographers shooting things with like handy cams, old Sony 90s cameras. Mm-hmm. So if that's what you have, that might be that's laying around at your house. I'd say use it. But to answer your question, how much should you spend on it? That's all dependent on what you want to accomplish. If you want to make vintage looking videos, Handycam will probably run you like maybe $200 max. If you want to take photos, you could probably find a camera for $100 or less. Now, if you want to do like professional work, then you're probably looking for anywhere between $1,000 up. But that all depends on what you want to do with it. So
either way, it's beneficial. It helps you create your work at the end of the day. So it shouldn't be judged. It's what other people would call it, an investment, correct?
it is, yeah, it's an investment. And you know, your ROI will go up with, as you put the time into it, your ROI will go up because you'll see the results. You know what I mean?
Right. Your return is not simple, basically. It's very complex to what you do. And differentiates a lot whether it's a hobby or a career. So I want to know, what's your difference when it comes to hobby or career?
It'll start as a hobby for just about everybody who does it. So it'll be a hobby first and then a career. The career portion of it is what's fun and stressful at the same time, because you have this this expectation to not only bring like creative side to yourself, but also execute something for a business, for someone who's relying on you to not only make something for them because they're paying you, but because they want to see their return on investment. You feel me? Like, so you have to also, you know, give them what they want or meet their needs, whether that's creative, like rappers, like music videos. I've done stuff like that, or even advertisements for a business. And those are two separate things, but they both want a return, exposure, more money, more clients, stuff like that.
And you had said exposure. I think that's a very important word when it comes to the world of photography.
Yeah.
How much do you think it affects you when it comes to exposure?
Oh, exposure is huge, and it just comes down to being or hustling to make new creative ideas, putting those out there, because otherwise they're not going to know. So like I said, it starts as a hobby. So if I'm out here shooting photos every day, editing them, posting them out there, people are going to see it and they're going to be like, oh, this is good, or oh, I like this, what he did with this one, or oh, I really like how you use lights in this one. Can you do this for my graduation photos? Can you do this for, you know what I mean? Like finding that you'll find things to make with it.
And like you said, you have clients. You have been having clients for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, what type of setting do you like the most when you're shooting pictures?
It comes down to what they want, really. Mm-hmm. Setting-wise, my personal setting, I mean, it doesn't matter because the lighting is what works the most. And I think that's overlooked a lot with videography and photographers. We have a light set up right now. It's not perfect because I didn't bring all my lights, but I mean, majority of the time I take photos, I think people overlook the power of lighting. It can turn your $100 camera into what looks like a professional setup. So I mean, if there's one thing you should learn when you're taking photos with just your phone or like your beginner camera, use lighting.
Have a good lighting. Well, theoretically, like you said, lighting works the most. I want to know other primary factors when it comes to your work. What other things do you look for when you're shooting?
Composition is huge, but that's just like your overall setup. So, what angle you put your camera at, what lens you're using, what's in the shot itself, things like that. What the people are doing, movements and stuff. Like, the entire composition is huge. And that's just summing up everything. Like I just named some stuff off, but honestly, I worked with really great models. I worked with people who really want to be there, you know. So when I make something, it's pretty easy. I think it's a really good one-on-one session when I have somebody, whether it's like a graduation photo or like so getting ready for a quince or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it really could. I can't say I'm like the master here, and everything just comes to me. You know what I mean? Maybe some things come easier than others, but for the most part, it's like it's a community that brings. That's not the word I'm trying to find.
Community.
It's it takes more than one person. Let's put it like that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned like when you do one-on-ones. I want to know, not only photographers, but just you ultimately. What do you bring to the set when you have an appointment, let's say, or reservation for shootings? What do you bring with you?
My lights,
Okay.
my audio. Sometimes I shoot video as well, so it's like I have multiple options when it comes to how I want to shoot it. Because sometimes a video might be just as good as a photo if it's done right, you know? Or add photos and video together. I think that's really fun. So I add my own creative flair to it. I'd say that's what I bring to set. My own creative flair, I guess.
And what is one thing that you bring that others photographers may not?
Um,
And just in general, just whatever you would bring, like a superstition or something.
I bring the openness to listen to my clients, because a lot of times I feel like, you know, someone with the camera might feel like they know what they're doing, and that's fine, absolutely. But if the client wants something and you give them something else, then they might not work with you again. So having the ability to compromise with them is huge, always.
It's very superior. And you had mentioned that you obviously have a lot of lenses with you, but I want to know, what's your favorite lens?
So that's a hard question. It depends. I say it depends a lot, because just about all these questions is like a dependent sort of thing. It's like, well, what am I doing? What's the situation? And so, put it simply, it depends. But to give you a straight answer, for those of you who don't know, I'm referring to them in millimeters because that's just the focal lengths that they're at. I mean, you can use zoom lenses, which are multiple focal lengths, variable lenses. I'd probably say I like shooting with wide-angle lenses because it makes it look like you're there with them. And so for those of you that don't know, majority of movies are made with wide-angle lenses. Right now, you're watching this on a 50 millimeter. That camera right there might be a 35, and then your phone cameras typically are at 20 or less, maybe like 24. So those wide-angle scenes you have in movies, the things that make it look really professional, it's because it's probably shot in like anywhere between 10 to 16 millimeters. It makes it kind of look distorted. You ever see how like movies can kind of look round almost? That's what it is.
And are those quite expensive?
Depending on what you get. I mean, you can have a beginner lens, like maybe say one for like an EOS Canon. They can range anywhere between, I'd say, $100,000 to $50,000 for a lens. I mean, I know some lenses go for like $20,000.
And I know there's a market for it. So is there sometimes like big deals that you find, or is it usually always like in a market wise?
I shop for what I can afford. To be honest with you, that's what I do. I shop for the versatility of it, what I'm going to do with it, and how much I'm going to use it. Otherwise, I'm not going to buy it. So right now, I have the 50 I'm using. I use an 18 as well for the wide angle stuff. And then I have a zoom lens that I kind of alternate with. Right now, I was just shooting with a 70 to 300 for like videography, for sports videography, but I'm still trying to find one that fits me better. So I've been kind of in the market, going around finding different ones, basically buying and returning them, to put it simply. That's what I've been doing.
You're trying new things out, basically, which is fine. Now, I have a question. It's very tough to answer sometimes by other photographers, but I do want to know. Photography or videography?
I think that they're, like, which one's better? Or
Which
like,
one do you prefer?
I'll say videography. I think that's pretty simple to put because of what I want to do. Long term, I want to work in film, so me saying photography would be kind of limiting to what I actually want to do.
You say you want to work in the film, so I want to ask you this. Which director would you love to work for?
I'd love to work with a lot of directors. I'd like to work with them, not rather than not. I'd rather work with them than
Not
for
work.
them. I think right now, someone who I think has a lot of potential and continues to show really great technique is Cole Bennett. I mean, he's a music video director. He could eventually be making feature films. If you don't know what his name is, you definitely know his work. He's made music videos for Juice WRLD, for Trippie Redd, for Lil Yachty, like just
Ellie Chapa.
he just made one for Drake. I don't know if it's dropped yet, but so like he's has quite a few like really big names that he's worked with over the course of his career so far, and he's a young director too, which is pretty exciting for someone like me.
And if you guys may not know, he has a YouTube channel. That's where he usually brings down the the musical videos, right? Because that's what he does. I think it's Lemonade.
Yeah,
something.
Lyrical Lemonade is where he posts his
Lyrical
stuff.
Lemonade.
That's not my channel. That's Cole Bennett's.
Yeah, that's Cole Bennett. But he has his own YouTube channel as well, and he also works for a brand, or with a brand,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. Can you name them?
So they go by Takeover. I would say they're some of the best and creative guys I've worked with. Not to say they're the only creative people I've worked with. I've worked with a lot of really creative people, like music artists and stuff like that. Smaller names, obviously, but just being around other creatives and how they work is beneficial for you in being a better creative. Like some of them are like, oh, like maybe I like to, you know, when making clothes, I notice that they listen to music a lot, you know? Or maybe a music artist likes to find other forms of being artistic. Maybe they like write their music at a park, you know? Or they do it just as they're working. I just hear a lot of different things about the creative process that can a lot of times benefit me as a creator.
Correct. It helps you, it pushes you go in the same way as they are going. They're pushing you, you know. So that's good that you surround yourself with people that can help you and benefit you in your career in the long term and short term. Now, the question that I always ask to the people that come here, I would like to know, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years from now, I see myself working on major film sets. That's what I see myself doing. I would like to still do videography on the side. It just depends on how much time I have because film sets demand a lot of time and energy. They could be anywhere between 12 to 15-hour days. So, because you only have so much time to film. So, it all depends on what it is. I'm not in any rush, you know. I enjoy the journey I'm on, so.
You're enjoying the journey, and that's the best part, I feel like. Without the journey, where can you get? And talking about the journey, I want to go to the start of the journey. I want to know, when was the first time that you shot a film, or the first time you shot a photo and said, dang, this is interesting. I want to take into it.
The first time I ever did it, that was a good question too, I would say. The first time I ever made a video, it's so funny. I actually put it on YouTube. It's not, I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there because my channel isn't there anymore.
You got deleted?
It must have, because I've looked for it. I put it on YouTube, I know I did. It's called To-Do List. And basically I made it when I had to be in like 4th, 5th grade. And the premise of it is that this guy tries to complete all these things on his to-do list for the day, but they're like really like ridiculous things, you know what I mean? I made it when I'm like, I wrote it probably when I was in 4th grade, so you can only imagine the ideas I had then. But like, I don't know, childish. But, you know, I would love to go back and look at it if I could and see where I'm at now.
And what did that bring you? Did it excite you into getting into photography? Did it?
It definitely interests me enough to want to do it more. I wanted to do it, kind of got out of it for a long time. I've always been interested in photo and video. So I was always attracted to people doing it, and then eventually I was just like, why am I watching? Why am I not doing it? And so I pursued it full time. Not full time, but part time, eventually being full time.
Which now is full time, correct?
It will be very soon. Still work regular job, but at the same time, this does bring me a little bit of money on the side, so it's pretty nice.
I'd like to know, as you grow up, you know, you start to look at idols of what you want to do. You start to pursue your career. You start to realize, okay, this looks cool. And you get to the point where you generally want to do the same thing that they're doing or follow the same path. So I want to know, what type of public figure aspire you to be who you are right now?
So like I just named Colt Bennett earlier, I think some great figures right now that I admire, maybe that have been in the industry longer than he has. I would say like Oliver Stone is a very experimental film director. Let's see. I like the greats like Francis Ford Coppola. I like Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, things like that. Pretty generic answer, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that they're great for a reason. So, you know, I got to give them their props.
And then as you get more into your career, you start to have this feeling of understanding more, not only movies, but you also desynthesize your emotions with them.
Mm-hmm.
You start to realize, okay, it reaches climax, or, oh, I know what's going on, or they did this part wrong. Does it actually work with you when you watch a movie? Do you criticize it in your mind, or do you still enjoy the movie?
No, I criticize movies every time I watch them. It actually drives me insane. I've been doing that since I was a little kid, though. Like, I would watch movies and I'd be like, oh, I don't know how they did that. And then I'd watch the behind the scenes for hours. Like, that's what I would do. But now I think it's gotten even worse, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I watch a movie and I'm just like, either I need to know how it was made, or I know how it was made, and I am like, either I would have shot this differently, or, you know, I try not to do that because I know how hard it is to make a movie.
Right.
So for me to judge is just kind of crazy because there's so much time and effort, and so when a movie fails, it's not so much the director's fault or like the people who worked on the movie. It could just be the studio they work for, because the studio asks a lot of people. They'll be like, oh, we need to have it this long, and we need to have these kind of characters, and it has to meet this criteria. Mm-hmm. It has to reach this group of people. And sometimes your movie doesn't even call for that. It's like, this isn't a movie about that, but I guess we have to put it in there now.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you asked that, I'd like to hear an example.
None of mine personally. I mean, obviously, school films that I've worked on, people have... They're like, oh, you have to do it in this amount of time. It has to be 7 minutes or less. You know, that's like a regular expectation for short films. But I mean, on studio films, I can't really think of any examples off the top of my head. I'm sure if you were to look them up, there's plenty. I think a good example is like Morbius. You know how people are like really weird about that movie. It wasn't very great. Personally, I haven't even seen it. I just, the things people have said about it is like what I'm basing my answer off of. But that's a lot of it that was controlled by the studio and lack of time, or maybe so going over budget. And so they had to compromise with like, okay, this is what we're going to have to put out. So I wouldn't really blame the director or like the actors, but I don't know. Maybe the acting was bad. I'm not sure. I haven't watched it. But a lot of times it's the studios that kind of get in the way. I mean, Disney's not perfect, so, right. You know, things get in the way, so.
I thought it was Marvel. Not Marvel, I mean, Warner Bros. Or something like that.
No, it was Marvel, so it's owned by Disney.
Oh, okay.
Morbius is Marvel.
I thought it was DC. That's cool, though. Now, would you like to be a director in your future career, in your career?
I'd like to direct some stuff. I think it's not for the weak. it's something that, like, I remember this. There's a quote. I believe it's Steven Spielberg who said it. He said, "The hardest thing about being a director is it's not like what you do on set. It's taking that first step out of the car in the morning before a job." And what he means by that is it's so stressful when you're doing it. It's extremely stressful because you're thinking about all these things that you need to get. You can't miss shots, especially if you're working on a small set like me. I'm like my director, the producer, I'm the writer. Like, I have to take account for all these different things. So when something goes missing or something messes up, it's on me. Like, there's no one else to blame but myself, or maybe, and I can't even blame the people who, I bring on board, like my audio people or like my cameraman or something. It's like, I should have been more aware. But I think that's what comes with directing, is learning about it and just getting better.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress, not only what you do, but also what you choose. And talking about choosing, how hard is it to choose the perfect actor for the role on your movies?
So as of right now, I have a small pool of actors that I can choose from, whether that's students or friends or people that I meet, connections and stuff like that. Eventually, I like to do like casting calls for films and really get some like solid actors. And so I haven't personally experienced casting calls, but what I've heard from actors who have done casting calls, that it is like a very nerve-wracking experience, having to deal with that. Like, because they can only pick one person for one part, you know what I mean? You can try out for multiple parts and see what you do, but if it's a short film with 3 characters and one of them's a girl and 2 of them are guys, and you're a girl trying out for it, it's like you only have one option. So
hard.
Yeah. So it's like one of those kind of things. So.
And now, I want to go back into the movies because that actually caught up to me. I like to know what's been the recent movie that you, as a director, think it failed, but the public audience thinks it was the best thing. I'll give you an example, okay? A lot of people think Avatar was amazing. People like me, of course, that don't know a lot about, cameras and stuff like that. But many critics believe that it wasn't really at its 100%.
You're talking about the new Avatar, like with the James Cameron one? Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually going to use that as my example. I'm not going to lie. I was going to use that Avatar movie. It took 10 years to make. The CGI is fine. I have nothing to say about that. I wouldn't even know where to begin if I were to do it myself. I don't know. I just don't know what I was expecting from that movie. But personally, it's not my favorite. But that also might be because I'm not a sci-fi person. So if you were to give me a sci-fi movie, I more than likely will be like, this isn't really my cup of tea. But on the other hand, I like thrillers. I like stuff like that. So I'm more likely, I'm kind of biased. Like, there's certain things I'd rather have in my films than blue people in space. You know what I mean?
I get that. So what type of genre do you like the most when it comes to shooting?
Thrillers. I love shooting thrillers. I could shoot drama too. It's just I know there's a sense of entertainment that needs to come when making something. And like, I've shot things and I've been like, this isn't even entertaining for me. I can't put it out. There's a lot of things I put out, and I'm sure you've seen. There's a lot of stuff I put out. I put out stuff very consistently. Both little short videos, long videos, things like that. But most importantly, there's a lot of stuff I haven't because it just wasn't entertaining. There's some stuff where I'm like, this is bad. This is like really bad. I'm like, I can't put this out.
But that's just because of you or what the audience may think?
More so for me. Like, if I don't like it, what makes people think that they're going to like it, And so I don't typically put something out for people's approval. I put it out for my liking to it. And I think that's how everyone should do it when they start, is to do it because they want to do it, not because they're looking at what other people are going to say. Because you can't move through life like that. Like, you don't get anything done. Anything you want to get done. You're living for others rather than yourself.
Right. But how often do you think someone that like you said, that doesn't care about approval. But how often do you think you should put something that you don't think is to your liking? Do you think that'll help you in some sort of way if you put it out?
See, I guess you can say you get like constructive criticism by putting things out that isn't very good, but you're aware that it's not good. So like by you putting it out and knowing it's not to the best of your ability or it's not entertaining for you, you're just kind of like, you're kind of just doing it just to do it. Now if you're doing it and you're like, okay, I'm putting this out, but I'm still learning, then that's okay, because you know it can be better. You just don't know what needs to be better yet. You know, like that's when you get the constructive criticism. I was like, oh, you should have color graded this a little bit better or a little differently. Oh, the audio here is okay. Now what are you going to do to fix it next time? You know what I mean? And I've had those issues like, oh, the audio isn't syncing or like something like that. And I just have to learn and watch videos and things like that to know, oh, this transition would have been way better to do. Oh, I should have used this focal length for this camera lens. You know what I mean? Like little things.
So you end up knowing what you did wrong. Now, according to many sources, it has been said that most people that are getting into the camera lifestyle and stuff like that tend to spend over 20 hours a week just learning how to edit, reviewing their videos, shooting, spending time on their ideas. So I want to know, how much time do you spend weekly? And let's be honest, you're not full-time on it. You're still working, you're still going to school, you're still doing all this stuff as well as hobbies. So how much time do you spend weekly on your work?
It sounds corny, it sounds goofy to say, but I'm always thinking about it. So, like, even when I'm not working, when I'm in school, I'm always thinking about what I can improve on. Like, when I eat breakfast, you know, most people like to watch something when they're eating their food or whatever. I'm watching videos on either how to use my equipment to the best of my ability, or I'm looking for new ways to edit videos. Like, I'm constantly doing it. It's become a hobby and a passion. So like the way you watch like football or basketball or something, right? That's how I'm putting it into like what I enjoy. Like, people are like, oh, he's just watching YouTube videos. Like he's wasting his time, you know? I'm like, no, I'm like, this is teaching me something. This is like my school when I'm not in school. And so I always tell people, I'm like, move like that. Like, if you really love something, you're going to want to, like, say you wanted to go into mechanical engineering, and then say you wanted to do like work in cars. You'd probably watch a lot of videos on cars you like, ways to make your car better, and then not only that, but things you need to know. And I think that it's a decent example. I'm sure there's like many other things, but that's what I'd say. I'm like, if you're not itching to watch videos or being taught more or being around people who have been doing it for a long time, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe this isn't something you really want to do. I think you have to take that in consideration.
You have to surround your lifestyle around what you really want to do. And as he explains, even if you want to get into it for a little bit, you have to watch videos such as YouTube. And obviously, if you want to pursue it really, I think, I'm not sure if it is, but I think it's crucial to probably pursue higher education when it comes to photography. Many people believe that it's not necessarily, due to a lot of other subjects, such as athletic management. I don't know if you know, Chris Paul never went to university, and not Chris Paul, I mean, what's his name? The manager of LeBron James, I forgot his name.
I'm actually not sure.
Rich Paul. Okay, this guy is like a manager when it comes to athletes, and of course there's a lot of people that have gone that way with photography as well, that they didn't need to pursue higher education. But I do want to know, how crucial is it to go to college or university when it comes to school to learn photography? Because many people don't believe that you learn a lot about photography or the camera when you go to school.
A lot of it for me, a lot of it is firsthand experience, like hands-on experience. They'll teach you things in school, but the main reason for going to school in a higher education for photography and videography is making connections. Bottom line, if you need a grip, a guy who works in the technical part of film, and you didn't know one before, find one in school. Not to say you need to go to school in order to do it. it really comes down to how bad do you want it. I mean, I'm sure you hear that in sports, like, you know, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to accomplish this goal of yours? How bad do you want to make this movie? This movie won't change your life, you know what I mean? Like, you can win an Oscar and still be broke. There are plenty of actors and directors who win Oscars and they are still broke. It's not until they have continuous success, you know, you gotta win a few rings to really solidify yourself as a commodity, as something that people need, you know. That, like, I'm comparing it to sports because that's really how life is. I mean, like,
you gotta work hard. It's people working hard.
Mm-hmm. So, like, you can do something. You can be really successful. You can have a clothing brand and everyone's wearing it, and still be broke because you just reinvested it into the next season for your clothing brand. You know what I mean? People don't see those things, but those are the things that people need to understand, that, like, you're going to be down and everyone's going to think you're up, you know? And that's just part of it. Like, there's ups and downs. I'm sure, like, you can even use Michael Jordan as an example. Like, there's downs in your life to the point where you might not even want to do what you love. You might have to take a break from it, step back and go play another sport, I guess. You know what I mean? Like what he did. But, you know, it just takes the maturity and understanding to know that, like, you can do it. You just have to kind of, like, everything's gradual, basically. You just have to be patient and also want to do it. So.
How bad do you want it, man?
I don't know. I mean, I want it pretty fucking bad. So, I'm going to continue to work at it. That's a funny question. I'm not going to lie. How bad do you want it? Very badly. I want to make something of myself in this. And even if it doesn't pan out the way I want it to, I think keeping it as a hobby and developing myself, there's going to be a place for me somewhere. Even if it's like a production assistant or something. You know what I mean? I got to work my way up somewhere.
And it's truly a hardship when it comes to building it up in that network. Mm-hmm. Because I think most of it is about connections, like you said.
Yeah.
And the jobs are so acute when it comes to big industry. So how bad do you want it, man? How bad do you want it? That's the question you got to answer yourself every morning. You know, and you seem like you do, man. I don't know how many people wake up at 7 in the morning and start watching videos about their cameras. I don't know how many people go around and start looking and say, okay, this is what I want to do. All this setup looks amazing. I like to shoot some pictures here. Mm-hmm. And that's something.
It's just like finding, like say you don't have the money for a camera. You don't have the money for, and then you want to get into film. I recommend you learn how to write. Or you improve your writing. You know what I mean? I think it's an underrated tool that can make you money. If you can manipulate words and put them into something that can be entertaining, even like an article or something, you know, an essay, like that is something that can take you very far, because everyone has a unique mind and thinks about things differently. And with that comes with different perspectives and ways of thinking, and you might have the perfect idea in your head, but unless you put it out on paper, they're not going to see it. No one's ever going to know about your brilliant idea. And I'm not going to lie, I get told a lot. I'm like, man, I have this great idea. I'm like, okay, perfect. Write it on paper for me. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to come to me, write it on paper, or like show me what you have so far. But if you tell me you have an idea, I can help you. But it's going to take you to, you know, push me to want to make your idea a reality. Right. So.
Such an art to be able to do this. And like you said, being able to write down and get better at a proficient level of English matters a lot. So I want to know my
bad, I'm going to cut you off, but there's a perfect example of this. So Christopher Nolan, everyone knows who he is now. He's like the hottest name in Hollywood as a director because he made Oppenheimer, he made the Batman trilogy, he made Tenet, he made Dunkirk. I mean, the list goes on. He made Inception. He made Inception too. Like, he is such an astounding director, and he went to school and majored in English. He didn't even go to school for film. He didn't make his first, I think, major film until he was like 28. I know he made stuff before that are shorter and they might be on YouTube today, but his first major job wasn't until he's 28. I'm 21 right now. My first big break can be when I'm 30. I know there are directors, I believe his name is Andrew Purr. He's an Asian American director. He's worked on a lot of music videos for famous celebrities. And he said it took him 10 years to get where he needed to be. So, I mean, it could be a really, really long and grueling way for you to be the next Christopher Nolan, to be the next big music video artist. You just kind of have to sit through it. You kind of have to just know that your time will come.
And your time will come too.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to know that. Do you think about it often?
Like I said, every day.
How long it'll take you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you wake up sometimes and think, today's going to be my chance?
I know I wake up and I think today's another day to keep pursuing it, you know, like, because there's some, you know, not every day I'm waking up and making a movie. Like, there's some days where I'm like editing photos or doing the boring stuff, like I have to organize my laptop with all these different like files, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing things, but it's benefiting me. Oh, today I need to, you know, like, not only work on this, but like sharpen my mind. So sometimes it might just be researching. Like, I might just need to read a book and learn something from the book. I might just need to sit down and watch a TV show and, you know, find ideas from it. Like, the other day I sat down and watched a movie, and I will watch like 3 movies in a day, and I'll be like, okay, I didn't do much today, but I learned something about the films I watch, you know. Maybe I'll go out and research it a little bit after. Oh, how do they do this? Or what lens did they use for this? Who directed this? What else is he known for? And then I'm like, okay, I have a little bit more knowledge than I did before. And I'm just kicking back, you know. I'm just, you know.
That shows that, you know, you don't have to every time work, but you can work while you're not.
You don't have to. Like, I think we have this idea that like you have to go 100% hard in the mud every day type of thing. Like, you see those on like social media. It's like, if you're not doing this, you're not a real man. And it's just like, you can still work hard. It's just, you know, you just have to do it daily. It's like you go to the gym, or like if you want to improve your health, you need to eat healthy every day. So like, it doesn't have to be like you got to OD it. You know what I mean? You don't got to do it all the time. It's just like all day, every day. It's just you have to do it consistently.
Have a sort of discipline.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to be like me to be successful. Like, I mean, I have small successes. I wouldn't say I'm extremely successful, but understanding that you do it daily and it benefits you is the greatest thing about it.
Wow. It's emotional to hear that.
You think so?
Yeah, you have like that voice. You carry yourself well. I think. Do you ever think about becoming an actor sometimes, man?
No.
Really?
No, not at all. I don't want to become an actor. I actually have acted, and you know, I'm pretty comfortable with myself, so I'm not going to sell myself short. I probably could, but acting at a high level in Hollywood, which is, I'm assuming, where I'd probably find myself, in streaming services, probably making Netflix originals or something like that. You know what I mean? You know, making something for somebody, or making what I want for somebody. But I don't know. Maybe acting. I've never had any actual education in it. Like, I know if you go to the ASU, they have acting classes and stuff like that, and I'm enrolled in one coming up in this semester. I haven't done it yet, so maybe I'll find out this semester. I don't know. Maybe I'll find out. I have to take multiple, so I might have to take another one coming next year, and see what happens.
Becoming an actor, that would be funny. Join Top Gun.
I mean, a lot of people who are in film were once theater kids. Like, a lot of actors I know, or a lot of directors I know, are really good at what they do. At least my age, like the ones I meet from school and things like that. They were actors first, and so it's interesting that like because I'd say like a large portion of what you do is talk to actors and what you want them to convey when they talk, when they speak, when they move. So you kind of have to know that. And if you don't, then it kind of limits you as a director. You can know all the camera equipment and stuff. So like I said, I try to learn things every day. So if I'm not a great acting coach as a director, then maybe that's something I need to work on. And
Right.
so...
And that's why when you get into the film industry, you have to learn almost everything. So you're ideally working for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to be your own movie, like you said, you got to know what you're doing.
Exactly.
So is it hard for you to understand what's a good actor?
No, I wouldn't say it's hard. I'm like, you know a good actor when you see one. I mean, it's that simple. Like, and sometimes you just you might have to use, like, say you have friends who want to learn how to act or they want to try and you want to shoot something on your camera, it's giving them the opportunity and you working with them. It's like, okay, it's compromising. So like, okay, this line is a lot for them. This is a whole paragraph they have to memorize. Are they going to do it? Probably not. How else am I going to be able to do this? Maybe I can do voiceover, or maybe I could do something else. Maybe I can do this scene and then something else is built into it so that they could say it, but they're not on the screen. And so it's like, okay, I have to, it's being smart with what you have. Having a good actor is nice. It's very, very helpful. But if you don't have that, coming up with solutions quickly is like what really benefits you as a director. Because they're problem solving. That's what they do.
Right.
Like, majority of the time, someone will come to you and like, hey, this shot is really difficult to do. How are we gonna do it? Oh, we gotta put this on a rig and we'll take it like this. You know what I mean? Something's behind schedule. How do you want to do this? We'll worry about this later. We got to do this now. You know what I mean? Like it's really like time management and problem solving. And that's why I said earlier about Steven Spielberg and his quote, the hardest thing is to get out of your car in the morning, because you're ready for a 12 to 15 hour day on a set, making something that if it is not good, you will not only be putting the studio in debt, but you'll be putting yourself in debt. It's such a big gamble.
It is a gamble and a lot of adjusting when it comes to your schedule. And of course, you're not a director of a big industry yet, but have you been getting used to the scheduling when it comes to adjusting your time and stuff like that?
Well, it all comes down to like, if I need to shoot at night, I need to shoot at night. I might not do anything all day, and then 9 p.m. rolls around and I have a 2-hour shoot. Some people photos is a lot. It's not easier, but it's more simple. It's like, okay, I'm going to go out here, I'm going to shoot these photos, talk to them a little bit on what they want. I'm good. A video shoot, a short film, that could be like, all right, we got 6 to 8 hours to do this today. And then if it's good, we're good. I'll plan for the next day or whatever, we'll get to it. But so it all depends on what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. If it's advertisement, you could probably knock it out in a day.
Mm-hmm. So to the people that are wanting to get into the business, what can you tell them about managing your time with that? How would you explain it to them?
Like I've said earlier, it's like I really want to do this, so want to be there. Just like you want to make money, you want to be doing what you're doing, as the money comes second, so like the passion comes first. If you want to do something well, be skillful at it and the money will come. But also, be persistent too. There's a lot of moments where you can be really good at something and people aren't going to take you serious because they don't know you. For example, I'm trying to get into sports videography and I've tried and I'm just not really getting anything. So it's going to take me to go out and shoot my own stuff of people that I know and then be able to send that as a portfolio. That's just an example. Like, that's something I might do. That's something probably more than likely I will do that. But it's just laying it out there for you guys. It's like, that's how you got to do it. If you want to take landscape photography because you just love being in, you love going places, you love traveling. You want to be a travel photographer. Do it. Do it every time you go on a vacation. If that's once or twice a year, do it. you're getting the opportunity to build a portfolio. Maybe after 2 years, you go on 4 or 5 trips and you have all this different stuff to show. And you can start selling it. There's ways to do it. There's plenty of ways.
Not only is it easier to do it, but it's harder to succeed, I've heard. You know, the opportunities are always there when it comes to starting out, but getting to the top is such a difficult story to convey, right?
Yeah.
And I want to know, oftenly people that go in careers like this tend to go through that, man, it's not working out. I want to quit, or I'm not getting any sales, I'm not getting any advertisements. So to the people that are watching, what would you tell them on the rough days? Because you had those days.
Yeah, of course. Like there's tough days. There's like a day on set where I was like, that was like ridiculously stressful or something like that. I would say this isn't entirely on the same subject, but I feel like it goes really well. It's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to make it roll really well. And so basically what I'm trying to say is when you're on a set or when you're doing something, it doesn't have to be revolutionary. Don't stress yourself out on it being the next big thing that's going to save the industry, you know what I mean? Just do it because you want to do it, and it can be influenced by things that you've seen before. There have been probably thousands of filmmakers and video and photographers since the inception of its creation, you know what I mean? Since the first camera was made. There is so much stuff to look at for you to be influenced and say, I want to do that. I promise you your idea isn't that original. So you might as well just do it. And that can kind of relieve you of some stress, you know? Or, you know, like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, well, let me look at someone who has done it well. And then you do that and you realize, I'm like, okay, like this. I don't have to do exactly like them, but stealing a little bit of the way they do it is actually beneficial for you. And most people won't even know you did it, you know? Like, it sounds kind of crazy. It's like, say you made a car, right? And someone steals the body of the car, you know? They make the exact same car and it drives just as fast and it does all these different great things. And it's just like, you just took my car idea. I'm like, no, I just made it better, you know? So...
Bars, man. Those are some bars. No, ideally, your knowledge has shoot up, man. I didn't think I get this much knowledge from you, man. I mean, obviously, I'm not into the subject of cameras or anything like that, but just hearing you talk, it expands a lot of what I can learn from you. Well, Matt, this was EP5 episode 6 of season 2. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you for having me on here. I was actually excited because I haven't done a pod in so long. So
I know, and specifically, I think last time we did it, you were just getting into it.
Yeah, I think for both of us, we've got to become more comfortable in front of a camera too. So
yeah, I get a little nervous sometimes. No,
no, it's all right to be nervous. It's just it's not all right to be scared and like back out from it. You know what I mean?
All right, you just got to go forward.
Yeah.
Even
absolutely.
Online. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps you think more about what you want to do with your lives, and obviously thanks Matt for helping you just think through it, and whether you want to pursue this, whether you want to have it as a hobby, or whether you just want to try it out. Sometimes in life we don't know what we really want to do until we try it out.
All right.
Any last words?
I'll see y'all later.
Wow. That was dope.
That was a good episode.